Hello to all quilt fans! I'm very glad to meet you again. And today I want to offer you to sew a triangular block. If someone hasn't had an opportunity to sew triangular blocks yet, I highly recommend trying it. It's very simple and easy. You can cut it both with the template and the ruler. So I will show you everything. Let's go. Our triangles will be equilateral. Here's how it looks with 60-degree angles. They are very easy to measure. You can measure them yourself on a list of paper. Cut it out and use it as a template. Just apply and cut. So you need fabric of 3 colors. Here are my pieces of fabric. So let's cut the template. First, we will cut a strip of fabric 3-inch wide. Now we will cut fabric with the help of this ruler with markup at different angles. Here is the markup for the 60 degrees. Let's put lines here and right here, and I will use this ruler and cut triangles. We put our strip of fabric, made a markup of 60 degrees on ruler and superimpose this markup with the edge of the strip. So impose and cut. Now we need to cut the other side of the triangle. Let's rotate the ruler, superimpose another markup at 60 degrees and cut off. Here we have an equilateral triangle with 60 degrees angles. The ruler makes it really fast and easy to cut the templates. And as I said, if you don't have such a ruler, then you can make a template from the list of paper. I will need 9 such triangles of this color and 3 triangles of another color. And we also need a 3rd color triangle, but it will be bigger. We will cut it off last. So, as I mentioned, this triangle measures 3 inches high and 3.5 along the side. All sides are 3 inches. That's it. Now let's cut 9 triangles of this color. They often ask me where I get the tools. For example, I'm usually asked about the knife because many buy them but knives no longer cut or get blunt. For some reason, the knife doesn't cut anymore. I cannot tell you why, because I didn't face such problems myself. Here is my old 45mm diameter knife. I only changed the blade there. I also had a nice office knife and only had to change the blades. It used to cut great but got blunt very quickly. Now I use a small knife from AliExpress. I decided to try a small tool. This one is 18mm in diameter. By the way, the tool cuts very nice at once without additional manipulations, and I don't have the slightest complaint about its sharpness. You will find a link to this knife in the description below. So we cut 3 and 9 triangles of those colors. And now we will sew them together. Now I will show you how we will arrange this block. The block will look like this. There will be 3 blocks in the pattern. Those are the triangles we will sew. The technique is elementary. We take one triangle, impose the second one face to face and stitch here along this side, leaving a 1/4 inch or the measure for a seam. And now we make a line here. When we will sew this part here. Here is the algorithm. Let's put one triangle on another and stitch them together. Then let's take the next one, the 3rd triangle. The seam between the first 2 triangles should be smoothed out. I do it simply with fingers. And now we take the next triangle and attach it here to this side. Let's impose. And those triangles with the other measure we smoothed out will match. And now we will lay the line. It turns out that we have just the width of our other measure here. Here is where this corner's end. And don't forget to smooth the seam again. Now let's take the next triangle and attach it here. We impose the patch. The corners of the triangles all coincide because the triangles themselves are all the same. If you cut them out carefully, everything will match. These seams should be also smoothed out. Here is how it should look from the back side. But this is not the end yet, and it's not the whole block of ours. Now we should cut out the center triangle. Its size is equal to this triangle. That means it is quite possible to attach this triangle to fabric and cut out the missing triangle of this template. So I have to cut off one more triangle which is larger than those we've already cut. But I already have a template for the side of this triangle. You can also attach the already made triangle here and cut it off like this. And now we will stitch parts just like we did in the same way. I'll show you one nuance you need to know in order not to miss anything and to keep everything smooth. Once you have placed one triangle to another and ready to lay a stitch, please mind that the stitch should pass right across this point. Now here somewhere or here, but strictly through this point where I have a corner. And then that's what we finally get. Here you can see that the corners are all neat and without extra cuts. So when we put the line, we should go right here. Look, the line went right through this corner and the corner will have stayed untouched. Now all the seams must be ironed out. Look what an interesting block we get. You can choose and vary colors as you wish. Use light triangles here or here. Let's see how the block looks on my wall. I sewed several blocks in one. Here's many different colors options I got. I think the baby blanket will be right in these colors. You can alternate such triangles with the plain ones triangles. It looks very nice as well. Or, for example, you can make triangles a bit bigger, all of the same size. If anyone has scraps and leftovers, you can collect this triangle from teeny triangles. And if you pick up some matching colors, it will look very, very beautiful, bright and interesting. And let me mention the size of the final block. The height is 9 1/4 inch and the sides are 11 inches. As you can see, the block is very simple, interesting and not difficult to sew at all. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in comments. I will be glad to answer them.